Good morning. Uh, there is definitely a lot going on right now. This is, I call it the last dance. You know, the difference between spirals: a dead spiral and a living spiral, a dead spirit, a living spirit, a real spirit, and an imposter spirit. And there are a number of channels that I monitor, and one of which is called Wake Up Africa with Dr. Mumbi Saraki. And boy, she gave a very powerful presentation this morning when she was making reference to a woman, an elder, a spiritual elder in the Mau Mau community in Kenya. This is very powerful stuff. When she openly communicates with her microphone that because of what's happening on the African continent with wake up, wakey, wakey, right? Because of the work that was done, right? This is you. We understand this is a spiritual war. And I knew as a small child, this was for all the marbles. So when you realize that you have an imposter spirit or an inverted system that realize it's going down, which means this is it. That's why the salvage contracts, redemption contracts were in play mode. This is the opportunity to avoid implosion, which is known as the speed of healing, which is the speed of recovering soul fragments, to restore ourselves from whence it all began, to experience what love is. So she made some references to what are known as rituals. So we know what the language of fire is, right? The language of fire letters: full circle, circle of light, a sphere of light, an eternal sphere of light, the eternal Christic spiral. I'm running a Christo avatar, so I'm experiencing the 13th mother arc of Sophia, Gaia ascending. That's our spiral. So I euphemistically just make this simple. What's the most powerful ritual there is in energy? Fire. The eternal spirit of fire, which is eternal spirit of absolute eternal love. That's basic logic. Okay? Right? Go jump into a volcano and go dance with the spirit of Mother Earth. Yeah? I was going to do that once. Born of fire. So you know that the power of that spirit, which eternal spirit of fire, is what cleanses us. That's called purity, which is the purity of energy, consciousness energy, a pure heart and soul. So now we're back to children. This is why I knew when I was 6 years of age. For how many generations after generation after generation after generation after generation, they've been targeting children. Fetal integration cells, cellular memory. Wow, an energy harvesting system that's been in use. Why was it allowed for as long as it has been? The Voyager materials and the fall of Metatron, she explained that. Elohai, Elohim, the founder races. Okay. Those little short sentences that she said right there pretty much spells it out of eternal love and compassion. And she made a very important remark when she said about those that were voting for it and those that voted against it. I remember that because I'm one that voted for it. So when she said that, I thought, whoa, long before I ever heard her say that. It was like, yeah, I know, you're right. She's right. She's absolutely right. So that means I can confirm what she's saying because I know, because I was partaking in that. Things you know, right? And so so now you're down to the belief of yourself, your own soul's energy. Do you believe that you're capable of being able to go into, when you consider how many years this is, that you can go into a fallen system and repair it? To retrieve, to do what? Recover souls without implosion. So I knew as a child, how many are we going to be able to save to pull back in to the one, to experience the one? So when you're experiencing the one, you know that you're experiencing the first one. So when you're experiencing eternal love through your own heart, you believe anything is possible. And nobody will ever convince you otherwise. Ever. Otherwise, you don't know who you really are. So you know that eternal absolute fire, the eternal spirit of fire, right, can heal anything. Right? Now we're back to free will. If you're not wanting to heal, and instead you're still wanting to go to war against what it is that I am, which loves you, that's not very intelligent. Now we're back into the Bardo implosion point about how much time it's going to take. And the speed, because this is really what it is. The ability to pull more fragments of souls into the one, into the center point of origin, as fast as we possibly can. That's high precision work. That's why it was done at the speed at which it was done and why the security was so tight, which is no errors. Can you do it with no errors? That means you have to outfox a fox. That's the AI system. So you know as a child the difference between what it is and what you are. So Patty was right. Knowing one from the other, which is knowing an imposter spirit and knowing dead light from eternal light, which is eternal spirit of fire. That's called a map read. You're mapping the operator. The consciousness level that the consciousness is operating at. Now you're reading the difference between what? A resistor and a capacitor. And the speed at which their capacitor can rise, which is the accretion levels. How fast can their accretion levels rise so that their consciousness wakes up? So they're no longer being held captive to the system that was holding all these souls captive. Releasing the souls. Releasing the souls. Release the spirit. Release the souls. Release the spirit. Release the souls. Now the spirit is free. When the spirit is free to create. Now that spirit is happy and dancing. The elementals. All the spirit in the elementals, the spirit molecule, the covalent bonds. Now we're back to adjusting variable speeds. So we're experiencing perfect balance or equidistance or equilibrium states. Right? So the plasma is naturally in a state of balance between every wave. At the speed at which we're experiencing who we are between every density and every multidimension. That's called frequency modulation. The radio body, running a radio set, a power plant, running a nuclear power plant to experience perfect balance between two magnets, hot and cold. Yeah, far and ice. That's full electromagnetic spectrum, command authority. So I issued a command when I was 4 years of age. Anything that's less than what I am, which what love is, goes on forever, gets transmuted. So we're back to experiencing what we always experience, which is what love is. That's pure energy. That's a pure spirit. That's a spirit of fire. That's what purifies us. That's why we're all here. Have a great day. We love you all. Be good to yourselves. Huya. Manuyana.